The dangerous part is not that Codex is on your phone. It is that your client will expect the project to move while you are in line for coffee. That sounds convenient until you remember the client does not see your phone as a tiny review surface. They see it as proof that the project is always reachable, always movable, and apparently allergic to boundaries. Today we are not doing the usual feature tour where everyone claps because an app got smaller. We are asking the rude question. If a coding agent can keep work moving from anywhere, which parts of client delivery should a freelancer actually let it touch? And which parts should still wait for a real desk, a real review, and a real adult in the room? Here is the setup. On May 14, 2026, OpenAI announced that Codex is coming to the ChatGPT mobile app in preview on iOS and Android across all plans, including free and Go, in supported regions. That sentence sounds like a product update. For freelancers, it is a client expectation update wearing a hoodie. Because once work can be inspected from a phone, unblocked from a phone, and redirected from a phone, the client starts believing the whole project can be managed from a phone. Maybe not today, maybe not this invoice, but the bar quietly moves, and the bar is not famous for asking permission before it moves. OpenAI also says more than 4 million people use Codex every week. That number matters because this is not a weird lab toy being passed around by 3 developers with mechanical keyboards and trust issues. It is mainstream enough that your client may have heard of it, tried it, or watched someone on LinkedIn pretend it replaced an entire engineering department before lunch. When a tool crosses that line, freelancers do not get to ignore it. The question becomes how to translate the capability into a service that feels faster without turning your business into a panic button with a logo. The real shift is not mobile. Mobile is the wrapper. The shift is active state. OpenAI says Codex Mobile can load live state from machines where Codex is running. From your phone, you can review outputs, approve commands, change models, inspect diffs, see terminal output, follow screenshots, and start new work. Translation for non-developers. Your phone is becoming a control room for work that is still happening somewhere else. That is powerful. It is also how a simple client request turns into, can you just check one thing quickly? Except the one thing is now attached to a code base, credentials, tests, and a client deadline that has started breathing directly on your neck. Act 1 is the seductive version. Imagine you build websites for local businesses. A restaurant client asks for a last-minute menu update. You are away from your laptop. Old workflow. You say you will check it when you are back. New workflow. Codex is already running on your development machine, so you review the changed file, approve the safe command, watch the test output, and send a calm update before your coffee cools. That is not fake productivity. That is genuinely useful. It lets a solo operator feel less stuck to one physical chair, which is lovely because chairs are not a personality. But the trap is hiding inside the same miracle. If you can approve the change from anywhere, you can be pressured to approve the change from anywhere. Airport line, dinner table, half awake, client thread buzzing like it pays rent. The tool does not create poor boundaries by itself. It just makes poor boundaries faster. And for freelancers, speed without boundary design is not premium delivery. It is a subscription to being interrupted. So the first rule is simple. Mobile approval should keep the right work moving, not make every moment of your life eligible for emergency client theater. This is where the delivery stack idea starts. A stack is not a folder of shiny apps. It is a sequence of decisions. What enters the system? What context is allowed in? What can the agent draft? What can it test? What can it never touch without you? And what evidence do you show the client before anything ships? If you cannot answer those questions, Codex on your phone is not a delivery stack. It is a remote control shortcut pointed at whatever mess was already on your machine. Congratulations, the mess has Bluetooth now. Perplexity is pushing the same bigger direction from another angle. Its personal computer in the Mac app can work with local files, native Mac apps, the web, more than 400 connectors, and human-in-the-loop approvals from other devices. That is not just chat. That is agentic work moving closer to where actual client material lives. Folders, apps, dashboards, docs, and tabs you forgot were open because apparently every project now requires 47 tabs and one emotional support spreadsheet. Codex Mobile is one signal. Personal computer is another. The industry is moving from answers to operated workflows. And that changes what clients buy. A few years ago, clients bought finished deliverables, a landing page, a campaign draft, a report, and automation. Then they started buying faster drafts. Now they will start buying movement. Did the work keep moving while we waited for feedback? Did the test fail before launch instead of after? Did the freelancer catch the issue before the client did? This is subtle and it is important. The product is still the deliverable, but the value is the controlled motion behind it. Your job is not to brag that AI touched the project. Your job is to prove the project moved safely. So let us build the safe version. Step 1 is intake. The client gives you the task, but not through a chaotic voice note that says, "Can you make it pop?" and then disappears into the mist. You need a structured intake. What changed, what files or pages matter, what success looks like, what cannot be touched, and who approves the final output. The agent can help summarize that intake, but it should not invent missing approval. Missing approval is not a creativity gap. It is a future argument wearing sneakers. Step 2 is context. Codex Mobile can show you live state, but you decide what state exists in the first place. A clean repo, a clear project folder, a task note, and a short list of constraints are boring until they save you from approving nonsense. This is where freelancers beat tool tourists. The tourist says, look, the agent can do anything. The professional says, here is the exact lane it is allowed to drive in, and here is the guardrail it will hit before it finds production with a shovel. Step 3 is draft. Let the agent investigate, propose, and create a first pass. This is where mobile control shines. You can glance at the approach, answer a clarifying question, or stop a bad path before it burns an hour. But do not confuse steering with reviewing. Steering is saying, yes, try option B. Reviewing is reading the actual change, checking the client promise, and making sure the thing still makes sense. Your phone is good for steering. Your desktop is usually better for serious review, because tiny screens make bad decisions look adorable. Step 4 is test evidence. If the agent edits code, the agent should help produce evidence, terminal output, screenshots, diffs, checklists, before and after notes. OpenAI specifically mentions that updates can flow back to the phone in real time, including terminal output, diffs, test results, screenshots, and approvals. That is the part you turn into client confidence. Not, trust me bro, the robot did it. More like, here is what changed, here is what passed, here is what needs your sign-off, and here is what I deliberately did not touch. The mid-script reversal is this. The mobile agent is not mainly a speed tool. It is a communication tool. Weird, right? Everyone wants to sell the futuristic part, but clients care about the update. Did you see the issue? Did you understand the risk? Did you move it forward? Did you pause before the dangerous step? A freelancer with a calm approval system can look more professional than a bigger agency that throws work into a ticket queue and returns 3 business days later with a PDF named Final V9. This is also why you should not sell always-on access. Sell defined response windows. Sell escalation rules. Sell mobile review for low-risk blockers. Sell emergency coverage only when it is priced like emergency coverage, because emergencies that are priced like normal work have a funny way of becoming normal work. The tool can help you respond from anywhere. Your contract decides whether anywhere means professional flexibility or a tiny prison with notifications. Now, what should be mobile approved? Low-risk reads, test reruns, clarifying direction, draft exploration, safe content updates in a staging environment. What should not be mobile approved from a sidewalk? Production pushes, credential changes, payment flows, destructive deletes, client data exports, or anything where the rollback plan is basically prayer. This is the part that separates a stack from a stunt. If the client asks why you cannot just approve it now, your answer is not because AI is scary. Your answer is because responsible delivery has gates. For creative freelancers, the same logic applies outside code. A desktop agent can organize assets. A writing agent can summarize research. A design workflow can make variations. Great. But client work still needs permission boundaries. Which brand files are approved? Which assets are final? Which client data can be used for examples? Which outputs are drafts only? When the agent can touch real folders and apps, the old messy habit of keeping everything in downloads becomes less charming and more like storing fireworks beside a toaster. The best client-facing workflow is almost embarrassingly simple. 1. Intake the request. 2. Give the agent only the needed workspace. 3. Let it draft or investigate. 4. Review evidence. 5. Send a client update with choices, not mystery. 6. Get sign-off. 7. Ship. 8. Document what changed. Notice what is missing. No heroic chaos, no secret midnight wizardry, no pretending the agent is a senior employee with judgment. The stack works because the human taste and responsibility stay visible. That visibility becomes your sales angle. You do not say, I use AI, therefore I am cheap. Please never say that. That is how you turn a margin advantage into a discount coupon. You say, I use agent-assisted delivery to keep small blockers moving, produce review evidence faster, and protect client approval points. That sounds less flashy and much more expensive, which is usually a clue that you are finally selling the right thing. There is another payoff: better clients. The client who only wants instant button pushing will hate your gates. Beautiful. Let them hate the gates from a distance. The client who has real brand, data, customers, or revenue at stake will understand why the gates exist. In 2026, responsible AI delivery is not the opposite of speed. It is what lets speed survive contact with money. You are not slowing the project down. You are preventing the shortcut from becoming the invoice you cannot defend. Let us talk about the phone again, because this is where the title earns its rent. Your next client project might ship from your phone, but it should not be born there, reviewed only there, and launched there because you were bored at a bus stop. The phone is a cockpit window, not the whole airplane. Use it to observe, steer, approve low-risk steps, and keep communication alive. Do not use it to replace project judgment. The tiny screen is not a liability if it has a narrow job. The final act is the freelancer rulebook. Rule 1, define mobile-approved actions before the project starts. Rule 2, separate staging from production. Rule 3, keep client credentials out of casual agent context. Rule 4, require evidence before sign-off. Rule 5, price responsiveness instead of donating it. Rule 6, tell clients exactly where AI helps and where you remain accountable. None of this requires a giant agency process. It requires a spine, a checklist, and the willingness to disappoint a client who thinks your phone is a vending machine. If you watch the previous Freelancer Stack episodes, you can see the pattern. First, AI moved into finance and back-office workflows. Then no-code agent offices started looking practical with a bill attached. Now client delivery is getting mobile, local, and continuous. The pattern is not just better tools, it is a new operating model for solo work. The freelancer who wins is not the one who clicks every new button. It is the one who decides which buttons deserve to exist in a client workflow. So here is the payoff. Codex on your phone is exciting because it can keep work moving. It is dangerous because clients may confuse movement with unlimited access. The opportunity is to build a delivery stack that gives them faster progress, better updates, and more proof without handing the agent the keys to everything. That is the line. Sell movement, protect judgment, keep approval human. And when the client asks if you can just ship that from your phone, you can say yes, for the parts that are safe, and no, for the parts that keep both of us out of trouble. Before we bridge to part 2, make this painfully practical. If a client asks for mobile-enabled delivery, give them categories, not vibes. Category 1, observation. You can check status, read summaries, inspect screenshots, and confirm the agent is not wandering into a digital swamp. Category 2, steering. You can choose between approaches, answer clarifying questions, or stop a bad path. Category 3, approval. That is the serious one. Approval should be limited, logged, and tied to the risk of the action. If you cannot name the category, you probably should not tap the button. Here is a client update you can actually use. I can keep low-risk blockers moving from mobile review, but production changes, credential access, and final delivery still go through desktop review and your sign-off. That sentence is boring, which is why it is good. It tells the client speed is available, but judgment is not being outsourced to a coffee line thumb tap. It also trains the client that your process is part of the value. People respect gates more when you name them before the emergency, not during the emergency when everyone is emotionally made of soup. You should also build a tiny internal SOP. Nothing fancy. A one-page rule sheet for yourself. What can be approved from mobile, what requires desktop, what requires client confirmation, and what is never allowed inside agent context. The reason is not bureaucracy. The reason is tired. Tired you is creative, optimistic, and dangerous. Tired you will approve a thing because the client sounds stressed and the phone screen makes the change look smaller than it is. A written rule protects future you from becoming a case study with invoices. Availability needs the same treatment. A mobile agent can keep work moving, but it should not quietly create a 24-hour service tier you never priced. Put response windows in the proposal. Put emergency handling in the proposal. Put what counts as emergency in the proposal, because some clients think a hero image being mildly beige is an emergency. The tool can make you more responsive. The business model decides whether that responsiveness is professional service or free emotional labor with push notifications. Measure the right thing too. Do not measure how often you touch the phone. Nobody should pay you for thumb cardio. Measure cycle time, blockers cleared, revision rounds reduced, test evidence captured, and client waiting time. If the delivery stack helps a client launch a change 2 days sooner with fewer panicked messages, that is value. If it only makes you look busy in more places, that is not a stack. That is a circus with battery percentage. And if you are worried this makes the offer sound less magical, good. Magic is a bad service category. Magic is hard to scope, hard to price, and impossible to debug. Controlled delivery is better. A client can understand it. A client can approve it. A client can renew it. The less you sell the robot fantasy, the more room you have to sell the actual result. Faster movement, cleaner communication, and fewer expensive surprises. That is not smaller than the hype. That is the part clients can safely buy. Put it plainly in the proposal. AI helps me move the draft, evidence, and status updates faster. Human review decides what ships. That line protects the client, protects your margin, and protects the work from becoming another miracle demo nobody can responsibly repeat on Tuesday. It also gives you a clean answer when a client asks why the project is not instant if the tools are so powerful, because power is not the deliverable. A reliable outcome is the deliverable. The phone can shorten the gap between decision points, but it should not erase decision points completely. That distinction is the difference between a serious operator and a notification-powered assistant cosplay. Next episode, we lock the doors. Because if part 1 is about movement, part 2 is about containment, sandboxing, secrets, logs, network access, and why your AI developer needs a sandbox before it needs another prompt. If this helped, send it to the freelancer friend who thinks being reachable is the same thing as being professional. It is not. A good delivery stack makes you faster. A bad one makes your phone the boss. And honestly, your phone already has enough attitude.